public defender's right there. I can pick a name.
Well, did the private attorney?
Oh, now I remember. So we do need to bring him out.
Yes.
All right. When you're able in the next minute. Okay, if you can do it, let's bring Mr. Pierce out, please. He can be here or at the podium, whichever you prefer. Hey, Mr. Pierce. Good morning. When we last spoke, which was in mid-December, you were telling me that there was a lawyer you were planning on hiring, or your family was, someone, you were going to retain a lawyer. So, all right, we need to be moving your case forward, but I'm going to give you about a month. Now it's been actually almost a month and a half. I need an update from you, because if I look here on in the system, still no entry of appearance, which says to me you have not hired someone. And so we need to have that conversation about, are you representing yourself? Am I appointing a lawyer to represent you, or what?
I have some things that I got wrote down that I like to address.
Well, we're going to start with my question, which is, are you hiring a lawyer, or should
I'm American State National. I'm representing myself. I can't be represented by attorney. I'm American State National.
Okay. So you think you want to represent yourself?
I don't have to, because I'm not under the jurisdiction of the government. You can let me, I got stuff that wrote down, which is all this is tied in together. You let me sit my paper down and read it out to you.
So I'm going to let you do that. We're going to do that today. We're just not going to do it right now. I needed to get your update so I could figure out what else we were going to do today. And I'm hearing you say you're not hiring an attorney, but you also don't want an appointed one because, and you'll tell me later, you're an American national. I don't mean to use your words. You're going to tell me why you think you should represent yourself. You have a right to represent yourself, but I have to have a conversation about that. And I'll certainly want you right there where I tell you all the reasons why it's a bad idea to represent yourself. But in the end, it's your call. It's not mine. I won't say no. If you say, no, Judge, I get it. I know that I won't have someone helping me on the outside. I won't have someone who knows all about the law this way and that way. That's okay. That's a decision for you to make. But we're going to have that conversation on the record. And during that conversation, if there are things you want to tell me about the fringe on the flag and whether you're under the jurisdiction of whatnot, I'm happy to listen to that. And we'll go forward. But we're going to do that a little later this morning. Okay. All right. Thank you, Deputy, for bringing Mr. Pierce out. We'll get him back out. Hey, Mr. Pierce, I gave you some bad info. I am running into a whole lot of cases that we need to resolve, like people are going to plead guilty. So you and I are still going to have that conversation about you representing yourself and your rights and jurisdiction. Promise you that. We might not fit it in today. And so I didn't want you to be surprised if these gentlemen take you back downstairs. It's not because I'm ignoring you in any way. I will get you back here soon so we can have that very same conversation. You can have all your papers with you. You'll get to be front and center, and we'll talk about all that, okay?
Is there a way I can give you a copy of my American State National standing right quick?
If it's a copy you don't need anymore, you can leave it with the deputy, and he'll get it to me, okay?
I got a copy for the DA, the court clerk, and you.
Fantastic. If you leave that with me, I'll make sure it gets to all those people.
Okay.
All right.
I also filed my executive letter. I got a certified mail. And I also filed a pro se ex parte with prohibition. So this is my case, but it's in the mail right now.
Okay. We'll be looking for it.
Today's case is a masterclass in courtroom patience and a crash course in sovereign citizen logic gone nuclear. Meet Ricky Pierce, a man facing a laundry list of charges, including murder, armed robbery, and multiple firearm offenses. Yet he's convinced the court has no authority over him because he's an American state national. Sounds like a slam dunk defense, right? Well, not quite. Over the course of 2 separate hearings, we'll see Pierce refuse legal counsel, drop sovereign buzzwords like confetti, and attempt to dismantle centuries of criminal law using a self-printed fee schedule. This isn't just a legal battle. It's a collision between cold, hard law and the fantasy world of fringe legal theories. Strap in, because this hearing swings from tense to absurd, faster than you can say, Admiralty jurisdiction.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierce.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine.
Good. I'm hanging in there. It's been a long day, but I'm sure it's been a long day for you as well. Whoop. Let's get your stuff all situated.
Y'all sit down, man. Y'all sit down.
Okay, well, you've waved to him, but this isn't a place where we have that kind of conversation. You bet. Mr. Pierce, when we were last together, we had a conversation about representation, and you told me that you wanted to represent yourself. You didn't want a lawyer appointed, and you weren't going to be hiring a lawyer. And I said, we can have that conversation. That's an extended conversation, judge and defendant. And I'm ready to do that so that we can move your case forward. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck until we clear that hurdle. You have a right to represent yourself, but I need to make sure that you are knowingly invoking that right and intelligently, which is not me telling you you're not intelligent. I just need to make sure you understand the consequences of self-representation. So that's what I was hoping we could get through today. But I always want to start by saying what is on your agenda so we can see if there's anything else.
I'm American State National, and I can't be represented by no attorney. But I have a lot of issues with me being a national that I wanted to address. You said you were going to let me hear me. You're going to let me address all my issues last time out here about me being.
Well, I did say that, but I said if you're going to address issues, I need to make sure you're representing yourself. Okay, but if we're going to do that, we have to have my conversation first. I'm required by law and by the Constitution to go through a few things to make sure it's appropriate for you to represent yourself. So you can want to do it, but I got to make sure it's appropriate.
Right here is where things start to take shape. The judge is giving Pierce a chance, a simple, straightforward opportunity to hire counsel or get one appointed. But instead of a yes or no, Pierce goes straight into his sovereignty pitch. This is a crucial turning point. Every defendant in a serious criminal case gets this fork-and-eyed moment. You either have representation or you take the wheel yourself. But when you're facing charges this severe, steering without a lawyer is like sailing blindfolded into a hurricane. The judge knows it, the viewers know it, but Pierce, he's about to double down.
Mr. Pierce, please tell me how old you are.
41 years old.
How far did you go in school?
11th grade.
All right. Did you ever get your GED?
Yes, sir.
When did you get your GED?
2017.
Excellent. Are you able to read English?
Yes, sir.
I know you can write in English because I got these and you actually mailed me something that
Yeah, I wrote you a letter.
about 200 pages long. All right, so you can read and write and you can speak English. Have you ever worked before?
Yes, I have several jobs.
Tell me what kind of work you've done before.
I worked for Dollar Tree when I got arrested. I worked there for Airmark. I worked there for the Move Theater in North Carolina. I have my own landscaping business. I have my own record label. I worked at McDonald's, Burger King.
So you've had a bunch of jobs. Got it. All right, that's helpful to know. I appreciate you sharing that. Have you gone to law school?
I haven't gone to law school, but I have practiced, not practiced, I've been studying law.
You've been studying the law. Tell me how you've studied that.
Just reading, researching different case laws, sending out for different statutes and codes and things of that nature.
Sure. Has all of your legal study been while you've been in jail, or have you also done legal study when you were out?
Both in and out.
Okay, got it. Have you ever watched an entire criminal trial before, start to finish?
I done been to trial before.
So you've watched one then?
Yes.
Okay. What was that trial about?
Armed robbery. The 10 years I just did for armed robbery.
So you were charged with armed robbery,
Yeah.
and that case went to trial.
Yes, sir.
So you were there from jury selection all the way through verdict.
To closing argument. I stopped before closing arguments and took 10 years.
Oh, you pled guilty.
Yeah, I
Got it.
tried right before they were finna come out for closing argument.
So you've seen 95% of a trial.
Yes, sir.
All right. You ever watched a trial on TV?
Yes, sir.
What kind of trial?
what the movie is so called? Law and Order.
Okay, you've seen that kind of stuff. So you've seen the made-for-TV stuff.
Right.
But you've been in a real one. You were a participant in a real trial.
Yes, sir.
How long ago was that trial?
2016.
Where?
Here.
Fulton County.
Yes, sir.
Who was your lawyer?
Kevin Farm. He's a judge now.
He is. That's a
Yeah.
small world.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever represented yourself in a criminal or a civil case before?
No, I haven't.
This would be your first time.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Have you ever gone to a doctor or a counselor to get treatment for any mental health issue?
No, sir.
Depression or bipolar or anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Tell me why you think you would do a better job representing yourself than a trained lawyer who went to law school and has done trials before would do.
Because by me being a Mr. National, a lawyer only subject me to the jurisdiction.
So hold on 1 second. Yeah, you got it. So the court reporter needs to be able to take down what you're saying. What you're saying is important. So just don't rattle the change, and then she'll be better able to hear you. So you were telling me by being an American
State national, and by me being a national, I can't be represented by an attorney because attorney automatically subject me to the jury.
Now we're in hearing number 2, and this is where the stakes get higher. The judge is ready to conduct what's called a Faretta hearing, basically a legal safety check before letting someone represent themselves. Think of it like a mechanic inspecting a car before a road trip. Except here the car is Pierce's ability to mount a defense without crashing headfirst into a conviction. The irony, this entire process exists to protect defendants from their own bad decisions. And yet, the more the judge explains, the more determined Pierce seems to prove the point.
So my question was a little different. I hear you. But my question is, why do you think you would do a better job than a lawyer? It sounds like you may think a lawyer would do a better job, but you don't want a lawyer because you're worried that would subject you to the jurisdiction of this court.
I know for a fact it'll subject me to the, because a lawyer is as an officer of the court, and by them being an officer of the court, it automatically subject me to the court's jurisdiction. Okay.
Well, indulge me for a minute and assume, you may think I'm wrong, but assume that I've decided that you are subject to the jurisdiction of the court. And you say, Judge, you're wrong. Okay. But I get to make the decision initially. And then you go to the Court of Appeals and they'll say McBurney was right, McBurney was wrong. But if I've decided that this court has jurisdiction over you and this case and your co-defendant, do you want me to appoint you a lawyer because you're stuck here anyway? Or you still want to represent yourself?
I still want to represent myself because I'm not under the court jurisdiction.
No chains.
Okay, my bad. My apologies. I'm not under the court jurisdiction, and I've been studying it long enough. Almost my whole family is nationals, and we know pretty much a lot about it. And we know for a fact the only way I could be subjected to a court jurisdiction is through a lawyer, because the birth certificate is a void contract, and through that contract, the birth certificate contract is what makes me subjected to the court jurisdiction.
Okay. I'm going to stop you again, not because I'm disagreeing with you. I am disagreeing with you, but we don't need to resolve that right now. I want to keep going with the discussion about representation. Before I get to the next question about the consequences of self-representation, if we fast forward and play this out, eventually you are either going to be pleading guilty in this case or you're going to trial. You're going to disagree about jurisdiction. I'm going to be very respectful and say, you know what? I hear you, Mr. Pierce, and you don't think I have jurisdiction or this court has jurisdiction over you. And I may be wrong about that, but we're still moving forward. Here comes a jury. We're going to do the trial. And so we'll go through that whole process. And I may be told I'm wrong by the Supreme Court, and then I'll have to fix that, and I will fix it. But there'll be this trial. You're going to want to represent yourself, even though we're going forward with it.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what you're charged with in the indictment?
No, I haven't had. I know what I'm charged, but I haven't had nobody come talk to me about nothing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Well, that's because you said you don't want a lawyer. And so this is what we're getting into. No one's going to come talk to you about what's going on. I'll make sure you get the discovery, the paperwork in the case.
And when would I? When
Well, it's complicated. We can get you the paper stuff pretty soon.
Okay.
But if I'm making this up, I don't know what's in the case. But if there's video, let's say there's surveillance video, I can't give you that at the jail. It's on a disc. What are you going to do with a disc at the jail? You can't watch that. You don't have a way to watch that.
And, I would be signing a private investigator too, right? By me representing myself.
Nope. You don't get an
How would I
investigator.
do my investigations and this?
Here's where Pierce hits the wall. He's convinced that hiring a lawyer would subject him to the court's jurisdiction, ignoring the fact that, spoiler alert, jurisdiction is already in play the moment a crime is allegedly committed. In that state, the judge even tries to spell it out with Georgia law citations, but sovereign rhetoric doesn't bend to statute books. This is a textbook example of why these arguments fail. They're not grounded in law, but in a belief system, where legal reality and personal theory are interchangeable. And as you'll see, that's a dangerous game when the charges carry life sentences.
About that, but you don't, I mean, that's a reason to say, you know what, I will take a lawyer because that lawyer will have an investigator and that investigator.
But can I hire my own private
Well,
investigator?
with your money, if you got money for it, you can hire anyone you want. But I won't be providing you money to go hire an investigator because you're saying I'm handling it myself. I got this. Mr. Pierce has it, which means your family would be, they could be helping you or an investigator or something like that. Or there may be some way, and I can't teach you how to do it, where you could petition to get funds for an investigator. But that's not for today. One of the consequences of representing yourself is there isn't someone who comes and sits down with you and say, let's look at this discovery. Man, the way the police handled that looks like that's a problem to me. I've been a lawyer for 20 years. I've never seen a police officer do that. That's something a lawyer could tell you after he or she reviewed all the discovery. And you won't get you're not a dummy. You could look at it and say, hey, this looks suspect. But you'd be making that decision without a lawyer helping you think about it if you represent yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you seem concerned that someone hasn't already come to the jail to talk to you about what's in the indictment.
I'm not concerned. I was just,
Okay.
wasn't informed on it. I
Right.
know I was supposed to get a discovery package at least, or
Well, not
maybe
yet.
report an indictment or something.
You will get it if in the end you convince me that I should let you represent yourself, then you will get all that stuff. But no one should have given you anything yet because we're on hold. Is he going to have a lawyer? Then we give the discovery to the lawyer who works with you on that. Or is he representing himself? Then we give the discovery to Mr. Pierce. And right now you're saying, I want to represent myself. And if we get through this conversation, then you'll start getting discovery. Let me tell you what you're charged with in the indictment. Count 1 charges you with murder, and it alleges that you and Mr. Baker shot and killed Samuel Curtis Harris Jr. That's count 1. Counts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all, and 7 and 8 are all what we call felony murder, which is you and Mr. Baker caused the death of Mr. Harris by being involved in a different crime: attempted robbery, armed robbery, aggravated assault, being a convicted felon, and having a firearm. Although that's just Brandon Baker. Brandon Baker apparently was a convicted felon at the time of this murder, and the murder was in February of last year. Oh, you are too. There you are. So you had a felony conviction as well. You and Mr. Baker are charged with attempted robbery, and the allegation is, and again, these are just allegations. It's not proof of anything, but it's letting you know what you're charged with and what you'll need to defend against.
Okay.
But the attempted robbery allegation is that in February of 2024, you and Mr. Baker approached Samuel Curtis Harris Jr. on foot on Mitchell Street, right near here, with the intent to take his property. Count 10 charges you and Mr. Baker with armed robbery, saying, in fact, by using a gun, you took his property. In fact, what you took from him was a firearm. Count 11 charges you both with aggravated assault for shooting Mr. Harris. 12 is possessing a gun in connection with these crimes that I talked about. Same with 13. 14 is just Mr. Baker. 15 is you. And it says that on that date, you had a firearm, but you were a convicted felon because back in 2010, you got convicted of something in Clayton County. And also, you got convicted of something here in Fulton County in 2016. I guess that's your robbery you were talking about.
Yeah.
So the thrust of it is, the allegation is you and Mr. Baker robbed Mr. Harris and shot him, and he died as a result of that. That's what you're charged with. Today is not the day to say, I didn't do it, it was self-defense, I wasn't there. That's your defense for another time. That's what you're charged with. So,
Because I have it on?
pardon me?
How many counts I have it on?
It is,
This moment highlights one of the biggest traps of self-representation: resources. Lawyers don't just argue in court, they investigate, analyze evidence, challenge procedure, and spot weaknesses in the prosecution's case. Without one, Pierce is basically trying to play chess without knowing all the rules. He asks if he gets an investigator. The judge tells him bluntly, no, unless you pay for one yourself. For a defendant facing a murder charge, that's like entering a heavyweight. Fight without gloves possible, but only if you're prepared to get hurt.
Because I came here having 6 charges.
it's about 12 charges, but a lot of them overlap. 1 count of murder, several felony murder counts, because each of those other things I mentioned, the attempted robbery, the armed robbery, the aggravated assault, that creates a felony murder count. And then you've got a couple charges, all for possessing the same gun, but because of your criminal history, it can be charged in different ways.
So they got me charged with 3 different possession charges?
1 for possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and then 2 possession of a firearm by convicted felon, because you have a serious violent felony, your armed robbery, that leads to 1 type of possession charge, and the other, you've got this escape conviction out of Clayton, and that supports a different type of charge for possession.
And what that charge is?
It's possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, but it's a different type of convicted
I
felon.
got 2 possession of firearms.
You do? Yep. And those may not be good charges. I don't know. That's what you would talk to your lawyer about, or that you'd research on your own if you're representing yourself.
All right.
All right. Do you understand what the penalties are for these charges?
Yes.
You understand that for this murder charge, you could be sentenced all the way up to life without parole, meaning you would die in prison.
Yes.
Same with all the felony murders.
Yes.
You understand that they'd all merge. You can't get more than 1 life sentence for the murders.
Say it again.
You cannot get more than 1 life sentence for the murders. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
They'd all merge together. But depending on how the case played out, armed robbery also, you could be sentenced up to life in prison. You understand that?
Right.
Okay. And then the other offenses, they're lower sentences, but still serious. But the big one is murder with the possibility, not the guarantee, but the possibility of life or life without parole. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Are you a U.S. citizen?